This is a foundation question on disease. Please pause the video, have a go at the questions. Then when you think you are ready, press play again and hear how to answer those questions, as well as seeing whether you were right or whether you were wrong. So, again, we're reading from the beginning of the question. Scientists investigated the effect of different factors on health. We know we're speaking about health in this particular question, the first part of our disease course. People who are not active may have health problems, and it's important for us to note when not active is applicable and when active is applicable. The graph shows the percentage of 16-year-olds in some countries who are not active. We can see that by looking at the axes titles, and it is always worth looking at the axes titles in order to make sure we know what this graph is telling us. It's got countries down here, so for these different countries it's looked at 16-year-olds and it has given us the percentage of 16-year-olds who are not active. So our first question, what percentage of 16-year-olds in the UK are not active? This has got a not in it as well, so we know that we can simply read off the graph for our answers. Now I could go along this line with my eye and try and see where it comes out. However, it is much better to use a ruler to do this, as it makes it much more accurate and you're much more likely to get the right answer. You don't get penalised for doing this. And if it helps you to get the right answer, then it's a good thing. If we look down at our 10, we can see that our scale goes up in 2s. So there are 5 different boxes to get between 0 and 10. So 60 is here, 62, 64% is our answer for part I. Part II, what percentage of 16-year-olds in the UK are active? Well, we know that 64% are not active, and that is out of 100%. Therefore, 100 minus 64 gives us 36%. Quite easy maths questions. Moving on to part 3, or III. A newspaper headline states, people in the UK are the laziest in the world. Information in figure 1 does not support the newspaper headline. Suggest one reason why the newspaper headline may be wrong. So it's telling us that figure 1 does not support this. It's asking us to suggest. Remember, suggest is something you can't find in your revision guide. Your teacher did not teach it to you. You need to use your brain. One reason, we only need to put down one reason. If we look over here, there is only 1 mark available for this particular question. So, looking at this, we can see that indeed the UK does have the highest number, or the highest percentage of 16-year-olds that are not active. However, it tells us here that it's talking about people in the UK. This graph isn't showing us about people, it's only talking about 16-year-olds. So the data here can contribute to that conclusion, but we need a lot more data to see if people in the UK as a whole are the laziest in the world. So our answer, it only considers 16-year-olds. Also, if we look at the data, we can see that we've only looked at 5 different countries here. So in the world, there could be another country not on our graph that actually has 16-year-olds or people who are even less active than in the UK. So you could also have that as an answer, and you can see that when I put the mark scheme up. B. doctors gave a percentage rating to the health of 16-year-olds. 100% is perfect health. This table shows the amount of exercise that 16-year-olds do and their health rating. So we can see here we've got a graph that goes up in the amount of exercise that is done, and we can see over here that actually the health rating, it's as a percentage. We don't need to worry about what that actually means, but we can also see that the health rating gets higher as the amount of exercise gets higher. So let's look at the question. What conclusion can be made about the effect of exercise on health? And it tells us we need to use the information from the table. Now it's 1 mark. With 2 marks you would expect to actually put down some figures, but it's only 1 mark, so we only need to describe what is happening here for our conclusion. So we have already talked about this. The more exercise done, the higher the health rating is. Now do note I've used an ER verb here. Okay, we do have to say higher the exercise rating is, not the more exercise done the health rating is high. That doesn't show us a pattern, that only gives us one fact. I'm just going to put the mark scheme underneath so that you can see any alternative answers or alternative wording that they allow. So pause this if you are confused as to whether you get a mark or not. Thank you for listening.